Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the On Time, On Target Morning Brief, where we invest with fighter pilot precision every day. Happy Friday to everybody. Have a really cool show this morning. We're going to talk about some of the hottest names out there. Of course, Palantir is one of the on-fire stocks out there. It's been on the move. We're going to talk about what it is, what it does, who the competitors are, and is it best to breed in the space. So you have to watch to find out that information. As far as our topic of the day, we're going to talk about dollar cost averaging, which is kind of a basic topic, but it's really the answer to when somebody keeps asking, every day, it's like, hey, we're bouncing off new highs. How do you invest in a market that's at new highs? Well, there are certainly strategies to do so, and working money into the market is better than generally just throwing a big chunk in at whatever date it is, because you have FOMO, fear of missing out, right? So you need to be a little bit smarter with how you put your money to work. So we're going to talk about those two things today. If you're catching us on a replay, thank you for checking us out. You can go ahead and hit subscribe to make sure you get your notifications on a daily basis. And if you want to join us live, it's $25 a month. That's pretty easy to do. And there's a chat window and a Q&A window off to the side to where you can make your inputs and see what my trades of the day are. With that, let's go ahead and get started. All right, welcome again, everyone, and happy Friday. Hope you had a fantastic week. All right, futures are in the green today, so that's pretty exciting. Setting up for another move higher in the market, which is why we picked the topics that we did. Palantir is, of course, the kind of the name of the day out there that we're going to talk about. It's bounced pretty hard back up from 22.50 or so, up north of 24. So is it a buy here? We'll get to that in a minute. All right, for one new person in the room, so welcome. Thanks for checking us out. Hopefully you join. Off to the side, you should have your chat window pulled up and your Q&A window pulled up. So go ahead and make sure you have those up and visible. And also in the chat window, make sure you have panelists and all attendees selected. And you should have seen I have my longs and short picks for the day already populated there. As far as disclaimer, this is a financial education presentation, so you have to do your own due diligence for acting upon anything you hear in this presentation. And the full disclosure information is available at ototnow.com. All right, the rest of it will be a fighter pilot briefing. Mission objectives: we're going to grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. Today, we're really talking about growing our money. Tech, going into tech, high risk. Mostly NASDAQ type names. That's what kind of carries this market higher. There's a lot of, I like it from a high margin perspective. Say you come out with a piece of software, and then of course you can scale that once you've paid to develop it. Then of course it's just high margin as you go in and deploy that forward. So we're going to look at Palantir and its competitors. Again, big data is the new oil is the theme. I keep hearing that from several very smart folks that I interface with on a daily basis. I call them clients. But yeah, how do we capture this data theme? Is it too expensive now, or do we just pile more money behind it no matter the price? Then yeah, you don't want to be completely ignorant of price, but it certainly is a theme going forward. And I don't think that you're going to be sorry you even got in at a higher level with a data play here. All right, question A, pros and cons of dollar cost averaging. Sure, there's a pro. There are also cons. Nobody talks about those, right? Of why wouldn't you always do this? Well, there's some definite downsides to that. And I know one person in the room, I've worked specifically with them for a number of years now, that will talk to that specifically. And that's you, Burner, of why not to dollar cost average, why to get stuff in as early as possible in the year and have more time in the market. All right, our flow today is going to be long, short, open, short, long. So we're talking about long-term investing themes first, which is always the more important because that's the bigger chunk of money. If you do have a smaller chunk of money that you're trading with, we'll do the short, open, and then go back to long-term topics at the end. So even though the short term is kind of the more fun, day-to-day, bang, bang type of stuff, remember we're focusing on the long-term investing. That's why you're here. The short stuff may be entertaining. Hopefully you're peeling off some money if you are following me along with the trades. But again, the long-term investment is the important stuff. All right, we'll do a market review. Again, we're in the green already. We'll do headlines review. We have a jobs number out. We'll talk about, here's our long-term investments. We'll talk about Palantir, Snowflake, Alteryx, Salesforce.com, IBM, and then of course the AI fund that I like the best is Robot out there, ROBT. We'll execute the market open once we get within a few minutes of that and take a trade or not. We'll see. We're still up on the week. We're up 3R Monday and then -1R on Tuesday and Thursday with a no trade on Wednesday. And we'll get to the question of the day. So if you have questions as things come up, please pop those in the Q&A or the chat. If you have contingencies, reach out to me at steve@otot.now and we will get you all set up. All right, we're going to move on now to reviewing where we are in the market. It's always helpful, especially at market highs, to remember where we are. People lose this all the time, lose sight of this all the time. So I'm looking off to a different screen on my area here, realize, yeah, we're at all-time highs. So what if today, it's setting up to be a nice green Friday, but what if today all of a sudden we're down like 2%? Well, literally, who cares, right? That would take us down here into the 350 level. Look, here was the election volatility of the unknowns going in. It really wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it would be. But guess what? We're stair-stepping higher out of that. There will be a day where we will have a massive sell-off. The plane with all the, the vaccine doesn't work like we thought. The side effects are ridiculous. People can't get them. There's mass hysteria. You heard Kramer and the folks on CNBC talking about, I guess there is a sign up list where you can get prioritized. I'll have to hear more about that. I'm not smart enough to talk to you guys about it yet, but I think it exists because we're talking about it. I just don't know. But yeah, you might see that, oh yeah, for expectation management, if you plug your name in and health and birth date and all that, you may not be getting the vaccine until October. So, expectation management. But yeah, there can be a big move down here. Don't even sweat that, right? That'd be a buying opportunity in individual names. All right, when you look at the 5-day, that's Palantir, which is what we're going to talk about today. But let's bring up the 5-day and the SPY. And so when you look back at the week, there's these 4 blue bars, pretty kind of stabilized at new highs here. And I think that's what will happen today. You need to just take it all with a grain of salt. I think today could go either way. A lot of optimism in the air, so I think that's why we're probably going to go higher, would be my take on today. And here's our day trading charts. We'll come back to that in a minute. All right, let's take a look at CNBC. I like Predator's comment there in the chat. Short term is winning today's game. Long term is winning a championship. I agree. I relate investing to, for the, it's a little philosophy in the room. It's like literally portfolio management. Whether you're doing it on your own or whether you're thinking about what I do on a daily basis, it is coaching football. It is literally, or any really coaching. I think football is kind of the best analogy because of a couple things. Any coaching, all you're doing, and I can't remember the famous coach that said this. It's the Lakers coach, blanking on his name right now. But you're setting conditions for success. So you pick the best players out there, you put your lineup together, you put your strategy in place, and it was the one after that, after Pat Riley. I'm blanking on it, but you put it in. Yes, Jackson. You put the players on the court, and then plays out how it plays out. Much like if anybody on there plays poker, it's when all the money goes in the middle, are you ahead? And if you're doing that, you should do that every time, right? So you set the conditions for success. You don't judge yourself on the outcome at all, right? You want the probabilistic play out there, and the odds are in your favor. That's all you're doing. Same thing with the portfolio. You put it out there, and yeah, Phil Jackson there. You put it out there, and whatever happens. But you go back to the drawing board, and you go the next day with your strategy, and you adjust it as you see fit. Same thing with what do you do with your star running back in football when they fumble? similar to a stock like Palantir that just went from 33 to 22. What do? Do you bench them because somebody fumbled? Geez, what kind of leader are you, right? If it's your star, it's your star. You don't really care on a daily basis. Here, guess what? Running backs fumble. They will. We're not done with that, right? Stocks will get crushed on a headline. We're not done with that. That happens. You literally cannot even be affected by that. Process the information. Make sure your underlying thesis hasn't changed. But other than that, just get back. That's why when you see like a running back fumble, they often get the ball like the next couple plays. I mean, when they get the ball back, or if whatever, you're right, you're building confidence back. So enough philosophy there. But let's take a look at the headlines across the board here. Excuse me, still working through that cough on my side. It's allergies, not COVID. Okay, here we are as far as our futures, barely in the green, but you see that we're kind of tracking more green here. Cautiously higher in Britain, and in Europe. Pretty much unchanged across the Asia Pacific. Oops, I skipped US. Here's our numbers from yesterday. S&P was down fractionally. Everything else was up just a little bit. All right, let's see. Bonds moving up. Hey, if we see 1%, that would be kind of cool. I like it. Oil moving up almost 46 now. That's kind of nice. And gold. Everything in the green across the precious metals, and then Bitcoin got hit a little bit yesterday, down below 19,000. Okay, as far as our headline review, the jobs report's obviously the biggest thing on everybody's mind today. We get those out on Friday. The raw numbers: 245,000 jobs created, which is good, but 440 was the expectation, so it's a miss, if you will. Excuse me. So you track the unemployment rate, which is really kind of the bigger picture, not the raw number of jobs. Unemployment rate dropped from 6.9% to 6.7%. So again, keeping the big picture in mind, we're talking 30% back middle of the year, right? After we locked down and everything, now we're down at 6.7%. That's a huge trend up. That is very much a positive, and that's why the market's going higher. Okay, stimulus deal. We are seeing some talk, so hopefully there's something on the street. There is an interesting headline out. Somebody's pushing a $1,500 is you get a personal check for $1,500 if you take the vaccine, because so many people are hesitant. I saw this morning, I think it's 57% of the population said if it came out today, I would even take it, which means 43% wouldn't. I've been on the fence. I switched that yesterday. Yeah, I would take it without hesitation. I survived anthrax. I can survive some stupid COVID. I survived anthrax vaccine. I didn't have anthrax, but I survived the vaccine, which was a B. And you know what? I'm still here, so I'll survive the COVID vaccine as well. Okay, Petco going public. I don't see that is going to be a really good deal. There's better IPOs out there, i.e. DoorDash and Airbnb, that are coming our way. If you're interested, for the new folks in the room, if you're interested in an IPO, you have to be accredited investor. So either you have to have an income above $200,000 a year, or you need to have $1 million investable. So if that's you, reach out and I can get you in on these IPOs. I can try to get you in on the IPO. So it's more accurate. It's still a little bit of a lottery. You don't always get it what you want. Okay, that's it for there. Let's it for the headlines. Again, the jobs number is the big one. Palantir. So here's the chart. So long-term thesis, data is the new oil. So how do we capture? Where do we put our money to capture that? Well, Palantir, I think, is the best name out there. Obviously, on day one, if you were with me on the direct listing day, I said buy it anywhere between 10 and 20. Which is, I can't remember being so optimistic about a stock. It opened right at 10. We got everybody's money in at 10. Then I added again at 11. It dropped down to 9. I added some more and pretty much have held ever since. I did start shaving some shares when it got north of 20, and it went all the way up. Yep. And now it's kind of finding itself. So that's what a stock looks like when it finds itself. So when you see something going parabolic, you may have that fear of missing out. You just have to wait a second. Generally, you get a better entry. You really do. Even Tesla, you get that better entry down the road. So be a little bit more patient with what you do. But that's the one name we're going to take a look at there. We're going to go over to Schwab Advisor Services. And here's the other names in the space. So if Palantir is a little too high price for you, it's still a buy here. It got down to $22.50. I said buy it. Again, you can buy it here. I would buy it up until about 30, and then I would stop. and just wait. Snowflake's another name that's out there, had a huge move up yesterday. So again, kind of missed that one if you're not in it. Wait for the next retrenchment and you can hop in. Alteryx has been left for dead. It has management issues, but is another way to play it. So money flow out of this name into the other two that has really kind of killed this stock. I don't touch it. I'm not holding it, but it is an option for you out there. Salesforce.com through Tableau and its acquisition is another way to play data management. It's been taking a hit just because of they in theory paid too much for Slack due to the merger they just had. And then if you want to go old school, don't recommend, right? Old people tech is IBM, huge dividend. Just trucking along, hadn't done anything for years. Watson's been all hype and no real delivery on its promises. So other than good marketing, not much reason to be in IBM myself. And then ROBT, if you've seen that show up in your portfolio, that's an AI play across the board. So yeah, it looks like this would be a terrible entry point. No, it's not. Hop in that, close your eyes, and 6 months from now it'll be higher. It may flop around in the meantime. Okay, as far as the other names out there that we're going to look at long, well, we'll look at the short. Let's look at Yext and see how much. I would love to go short, but really there's not enough volume. 28,000. It's a negative headline off of read my notes. Earnings and outlook decrease. So it's the only short I have for you to consider. I'm not going to touch it because I think there's going to be optimism. Now, if the market flips into the red during the first few minutes, yeah, we'll come back to Yext and take a look. But the three I have for you out there is BCRX. These are longs now. Not familiar with them other than the fact that they got FDA approval for a new drug. So nice, easy price point, 10-cent stop if you're looking at BCRX to trade that going higher. DocuSign also in the news for crushing earnings and being able to close. They're really expanding in DocuSign on what you can do through the platform. So pretty impressive, plenty of volume, 230. So tough price point. So thinking a $2 to $3 stop, but keep an eye on it. I do want to show you laser. This is Luminar. Can't spell LAZR. This is a SPAC. We'll have to talk about this more at the open, but 23 up to 28. Significant move up. So we'll just keep an eye on it there. And there's a couple other biotech names we will have in my hip pocket for the open. All right, let's switch over to our trading and get set up. Need to get my ticker set up here. So, all right, there's our 4 screens for the day. Let's set this up for BCRX. Again, that's our biotech play. That's a long. We're going to look at DocuSign. That's a long. And then our short, we'll keep it up here and see just in case. We'll watch it. Again, low volume on this short. All right, get my stuff set up for BCRX long. 10 cents. So manage your share count appropriately. All right, 15 seconds to open. Welcome to the on time, on target play of the day. We have 4 screens in front of you. We have the left screen is the SPY. That's the overall market on a 1-minute basis. We have BCRX, which is a pharmaceutical. We're looking long. DocuSign is, familiar with that. They're going long. There's the opening bell. And then we have a short that we have to be patient on, and just keep an eye on making sure the volume is there before we go in. All right, I like BCRX with a 10-cent stop. I think there's a lot of optimism in the name here. So we're going to try to get into this pretty quick here at, don't leave me. I want it back here at 5.9, but I may not get it. I don't want to go a 15-cent stop. It's already up at 16%. All right, that's out of our 5 to 10% window. We're going to have to give up on that. DocuSign is acting nicely here, so we'll keep an eye on that. And then not much volume yet in Yext. So, all right, we have to bail on this. We just missed it. It moved too fast. So 2 other, CRTX is another biotech out there. They have an Alzheimer's drug that is not going higher and like it should. And the other one's DTIL, which is long, has a new leukemia drug out. Ooh, that did not flip higher yet either. I see DocuSign going crazy. That's kind of ticking me off here too because it's on fire. Market's going higher. YX selling off pretty hard. It does have the volume now, but it already made its move down. Again, the thesis on YX was a decreasing outlet. It's already out of the window. All right, I'm not ready to stab into DocuSign after it moved up at $3. So let's take a look back at some other names. Zuo on earnings was up 5 to 10%. Not going to touch that. GCO was up on earnings. Looks like that hasn't opened yet, so we're not going to touch that. All right, let's go back to our BCRX and see what's going on, if that's come in at all. All right, so that thing shot higher initially. It's up out of our window. Yep, can't touch that. All right, some other short names. Marvel, MRVL Tech was selling off earlier. It looks like that has flipped and gone back. It's recovering from its 42 long. Let me see what the headline was at. I'm looking at another screen on why that was down so much earlier. MRVL. It just says gapping down pre-market. There's another Lee Automotive is gapping down. You're familiar with LI. So let's take a look at LI here. They did a secondary, which is nothing but pure greed. Secondary offering at 29 for like $1 billion. So their stock price has not been affected. It kind of came down here to the 30 level overnight, and people are buying it. So again, if you're in the EV, if you believe in the EV space, I still think right now the better play is QClean, which is an index fund focused on everything clean energy. So it's not just your EV electric vehicles, it's your solar, wind, all water, all of that stuff. Okay, that's moved too much. Let's take a look at Laser, LAZR. Okay, Laser was GMHI, and this is Luminar technology. This is the, if you're familiar with LiDAR, the iPhone 12 Pro has this, and if you follow me on Facebook, I tend to blow up that with pictures almost every day. It's really so in addition to having a couple of cameras that are taking the image and then it's melding this into a picture, it also has light image detection and ranging, which what it's doing there is that it's affecting the light, bouncing the light off of the object to give you almost a 3D type feel to the picture, even without being a 3D picture. So it's giving it some depth. Okay, so blah, 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 that's iPhone 12 and picture stuff. What does that relate to what Laser does? And I would love a better entry point in this stock. I can't buy it here. Let me go out to a little bit of a longer chart. So here's kind of the 5-day, well, that's a 2-day move. The ticker just switched. Again, it's a SPAC, so special purpose acquisition company. So the ticker switched yesterday, pre-market, and a Laser, and now you see the big move ups. Can't really touch it here. But it is doing LiDAR for the electric vehicles that are out there. So for all the self-driving technology, for the ranging and spacing and keeping everything safe, if you will, it's being used there. So again, I would love a better entry point. I'm not willing to blindly buy it. I'm thinking long term now. Blindly buy it here, but that's a wave of the future. That's why it's easier sometimes to own the ETF, which is QClean in this case, QCLN, which I can bring up. Let's do that. Just because it's going to own all these names, you don't have to think about the entry points at all. So here you see it overall, it's down. It's going to have everything from Nikola, which has been crushed lately, to Tesla, which is on fire and just got a price target of 780, right? So when you look at Tesla, jumping up day before last when it got that upgrade that we talked about. So still bouncing up near the 600 range versus a name that's out of favor, which is Nikola, which if you go back out further, you'll see that this has been crushed. So yeah, it was up at 36, dropped, basically cut in half on that news. It's not a buy here, just avoid this thing. But the ETF's going to own all of that. So, I like to be best of breed and focused in on outperforming in an individual stock, but sometimes you just take the whole thing. So clean energy, Democratic administration, there's going to be tons of initiatives. So just hold that going forward. All right, let's get back into the 1 minute. I don't think we're going to have anything that I'm willing to take late for a trade, but let's pull up that BCRX, which again was our primary this morning. So again, other than that initial move up, if you didn't take it out of the gate, it's kind of it's all over the map. So you're probably going to get busted out of that if you tried to stab into that. So that's why it's important to be patient. Okay, let's switch out of day trading mode and look at this. Up a third of a point here in SPY. Let's go into long-term investing thought process. So here's your LAZR. Again, this brand new ticker, the old GMHI, if you will. So that's up almost 30%. Here you have some psychedelic names that are out there. This is a mineral, Brigham Minerals here in Austin. There's our Palantir, which is our stock of the day, up 3.6%. Since we talked about it earlier, we'll pull the 5-day on it again. This is, so yeah, it was down here at 21. And this is where you can drive yourself crazy if you're like, oh, I should have bought here. It's like, look, this thing was at 33. If you buy it here at say 25, just because that's an easy number, and it drops down to 20, you're going to be mad. Don't sell. Don't buy here if you're going to sell if it drops to 20, right? It's got to find itself. So buy here, and if it drops to 20, clap your hands, buy some more. Okay, until you're overweight this thing, and then you got to stop buying it. But this is the best pure play going forward in data. It really is. Snowflake's the next one, but it's not nearly as ingrained or involved, if you will, as Palantir is with the government. So it also moved up $50 a share yesterday. So not really touching it here based off of this chart. I like Palantir a lot better. Okay, what else do we have on the move here? Energy getting some love today. Marijuana getting some love. This is Canopy Growth. Again, if you want to go to the marijuana ETF, it's easy to remember, MJ. So buy some MJ, put it in your portfolio, and then we won't know until January how serious the Democrats are about a nationwide legalization. There's a bill out there that is not going to see the light of day if you're seeing that in the news. But yeah, I do think we're going to see more states legalize over the next 4 years. I think we're going to see the government having a strong taxation plan for marijuana. I think it's going to be far more accepted 4 years from now than it is now. There's decriminalization plays out there. So we'll see. I think it's a place to have money. I don't have a lot there, but I have some there because I think it's poised to go higher. Okay, so a lot of names in the green. Let's take a look at the red side. NEO selling off a little bit. Workhorse selling off. Their contract got delayed again. So again, well, why were we in Workhorse? Well, we're in Workhorse because of this Postal Service contract, and we have to wait. So here's what happens when you're trucking along and the stock's like, it's selling off a little bit, and then you get the announcement of, at 6 p.m. that the Postal Service contract is delayed. So wham, from $25 a share to 19. So 20% drop, if you will, almost instantly off of that headline news. So again, people are going to buy it down here while we're waiting. If you have it, we're holding it. I'm not really buying more here, but it's a name that I like long term, and hopefully they get some love from that contract. Okay, don't see anything else of note from there. We'll flip back along here. Laser up 28%. Back to our chart. BCRX up now 20%. So had you ridden out the volatility and taken a late entry, realistically, you'd have to wait for it to get back up to 590. That'd be 1020, 621. It'd be a 3R move. It might get there. So if you're patient and took this as a late trade, that would have worked. Let's see, DocuSign, you'd had to take it out of the gate. You're still not getting a 3R move. And I guess that's right at 3Rs if you would have gotten in and gotten back out right here. So And then next, eventually the volume came in. It did pretty much sell off. Your entry point here, this had been tough, but taking it back here short at around 1720, 40 cents. Yeah, that's not a 3-hour move. So that would not have worked short. There's just too much strength in the market for that to have worked. Okay. All right. Let's switch over to get rid of my trading screen. No trade today for me. All right. Let's take a look at dollar cost averaging and some philosophy coming at you right now. Okay. So from a basic investing principle, people will say dollar cost averaging is a good investment management technique. And I agree. If you are on the younger side or on the inexperienced side, and you have $5,000 or $300, whatever your price point is, to put into the market, it's, do I put it all in at once or do I feed it in over time? Well, generally for your own emotions, until you're a little more seasoned veteran or you've seen some combat, you just kind of want to ease that money into the market, because otherwise your emotions might get the best of you. Say you're like, okay, I'm going to buy my first stock ever. So I log into Robinhood, I put my $500 in and I buy all Palantir at 25, because Steve was squawking about that this morning of, hey, it's a good buy at 25. So buy it. And you buy it at 25 and, some headline comes out and it's at 20. Yeah, you lost 20%. So that's that, Mike Tyson, everybody has a plan till you get punched in the face. I hope you saw the fight the other night. I thought it was a disaster that they called it a draw at the end. So I'm not sure they're getting my money at the next time around. But yeah, it was fun to see him fight again. But yeah, you have a plan until somebody punches you in the face. Well, a new investor may not like the fact that they put 500 into the market on a Friday and then they woke up Monday and their account balance says 400. So they may cash out and quit the game literally forever and never invest again. Well, if you're going to do that, then you're probably not ready to get started yet. And in that case, you need to put $500 in and dollar cost average, meaning this Friday buy $100 of a stock, wait a week, find another one, buy $100 worth, and work that money in over time. So really your own worst enemy is yourself in most things, sports, whatever. You're the one standing in your own way. Same thing in investing is you really have to understand your own emotions. So if I buy Palantir, if I buy some today at 25 and it goes down to 20, I'm happy. Yeah, that's weird. You're right. And people are like, why would my money manager be happy if the stock's going down? Because I can buy more. Because you know what? I didn't buy it to, cash all my chips in on December 7th of 2020. No, I'm worried about 2030 and 2040 when the stock's, pushing 100. Do I care whether I bought it at 25 or 20? Yeah, I'd rather have 20, but whatever, right? I don't care when it's at 100, and that's where I think it's going over several years. I'm not saying that, trade it to 100, but, data's the new oil. You get behind the theme and you pay the price and you get in and you own these companies and you take a ride, right? And you get paid, and you don't take short targets either. You don't start getting out early. You can trim, but you don't just bail out either. So that's the pro side of dollar cost averaging. It's also easy from cash flow management. You have this thing called life going on. So you have a job and maybe you peel off $100 or $1,000 or whatever it is a month to go into your 401k or into your brokerage account or your IRA or whatever, but you kind of get on a disciplined habit pattern that feeds money into the system over time. So a lot of positives there. What are the negatives? Well, if you take somebody first of all, everything says dollar cost averaging. Everybody says, well, that's monthly. No, it's not. It can be on an annual basis too. If every January you max out your IRA, and if you're under 50, that's $5,000 a year. You put $5,000 a year in. I think I just used an old number. Excuse me, $6,000 a year. If you're under 50, you can do that every January. And people are like, I think I'd rather dollar cost average it. Well, you are dollar cost averaging just over a different time frame. You're doing it on an annual basis. So there's nothing magic about the month, term of measurement. If you do it every January, where that's dollar cost averaging into the market every January. But the benefit you get is that money is now in. The first opportunity you can put money in is in January for an IRA. You have that money now cooks for an entire year. And it's not timing the market, it's time in the market that makes you rich. So by participating in January every year, you get a full year's exposure to the market, which again is that 10 to 12% on average. So For somebody that dollar cost averages in over a year, it's basically like the same person put it in on July 1st, right? Because you get the average time exposure to the market. So that's why it's really better to put it all in January. So the one I was talking about earlier, the burner that I've been working with for years, is maximize your 401k, go, or thrift savings plan or whatever it is at the beginning of the year. And once it's max, it'll stop taking out of your paycheck. And it's like you get more exposure to the market over time that way with more money. And that way your money can grow faster. And then you also give yourself an artificial type pay raise at the end of the year, or, in August or September when you've maxed this thing out. Then you can spend the rest, right? Because you've already done everything you can to put towards your retirement. That helps you get up into the 7-figure area fairly quickly if you just stay diligent at it. So really a key to success. That was one thing I did not figure out until I was into just starting the business at 43. Kind of had that epiphany of I need to maximize this stuff early in the year. So, something to consider, a lot of philosophy there. So that's enough for one day. Thank you so much for listening in. Hopefully you enjoyed your week, and hopefully we will see you all back on Monday morning. The new person out there, if you want to join, check out the website. $25 a month, pretty good deal. All right. Talk to you guys later. Have a great weekend.